Well, let's get a view now on Europe, on the UK's Brexit negotiations. Joe Leinen is a German MEP for the Social Democratic Party of Germany and president of the lobby group European Movement International. He joins us from Brussels. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Leinen. Do you think the door should stay open to the UK to come back into the European Union until the last moment?
Of course. I think most British citizens didn't know exactly what Brexit means. And now it is time to clarify what does it mean. We heard the speech of Theresa May, but maybe the Parliament has other ideas. And then at the end, I would say the citizens should have a vote again to really say their yes or no to the final outcome. And then I think the door is still open that Britain could stay with us in the European Union.
I mean, that would give an incentive, if you like, to the rest of the European Union to offer a really, really terrible deal in the hopes that that would scare the British into coming back into the Union.
Now, we know the problems and we have to solve the problems. But a hard Brexit, going out of all rules, of all standards that we have found and worked together in the last 40 years, is the worst deal for Great Britain as well as for the remaining 27 partners in the EU. So I still hope that there is a deal possible that is more flexible and more smooth, and that the speech of Theresa May was just a poker game, a starting point. You heard from Brussels hard reactions as well. There might be opportunities in the next months to come closer together.
Well, what do you say to those people arguing in this country that actually the European Union is sclerotic, the Eurozone is damaging some of its members like Greece, and that actually Britain would have a brighter future being friendly with America and other countries around the world?
Now, if I look on the trade, most of the trade that Britain does is with the partners here on the continent. I don't think that Australia or Canada could replace it. And now, since a few days, I would say, looking on the Trump administration, where protectionism, America first, is the priority number one, number two, and number three, I think there are some illusions in London what deal with the US could do better than the common market we have for 500 million people in the European Union. So I don't think that a deal with the US could replace the common market. First, it's bigger, and second, it's established. And I think that the trouble and the difficulties with the US would still be seen to come.
German politicians, of course, have been outspoken criticising the measures Donald Trump has taken, particularly on immigration. Mrs. May has been much more cautious. Do you think there is a danger now, perhaps, of a sort of two blocks, if you like, of having a continental bloc in one place politically and a US bloc with the UK as an ally in another?
Now, if what we call the West, which since 70 years stood together for values, for principles, for global order, if this West would now split into an Anglo-Saxon West and a more, let's say, continental West, I think both of us would lose, because we see that Asia is rising, that China is getting a global power, that we don't know yet what Putin wants to do in the next years. And we have Erdogan. So all countries where democracy, rule of law, human rights is not really on the agenda, I would warn against splitting the West in two blocks. It would harm both of us, and the tide of history would go away from us. It would go to Asia. And we don't know whether this really would benefit our citizens and our countries.
Joe Leinen, thank you very much indeed for joining us from the European Parliament.